Tennessee Titans fans, we have an ally in Dan Orlovsky who thinks Cam Ward looks sensational. He's on a FanDuel Sports Network, and Dan Orlovsky has actually said some things and some tweets about Cam Ward as well that we're going to look at as well. How much stock should you put into it? Well, we'll talk about it after we hear what Dan has to say.
Let's talk about another rookie's body of work. The Titans got their first win of the Cam Ward era this last weekend in a wild game against the Cardinals. Dan, I know you watch every snap of all these guys. So for the number one overall pick, who was under talked about through early parts of his process, what's he looked like through the first quarter and change of the NFL season?
Sensational. I mean, I think he's looked absolutely fantastic. There's a lot that hasn't gone well in Tennessee. It's not him. I would tell you that he's...
I think that there has been some moments where it hasn't been pretty with Cam. I think the first three quarters against Arizona were not great. I thought the whole game against Houston was not great. And obviously he had a pick six against Indianapolis. But one thing you have to keep in mind is... I say this a lot, so if I sound like a broken record, I'm sorry, but we look at things like Jaden Daniels in his rookie year last year, and we say, you know, we start judging these rookie quarterbacks in terms of that. We think that if they throw an interception or if they have a game where their completion percentage isn't well, it's like, oh, well, they were a bust. And that's not fair. I mean, sometimes rookies are just going to be rookies. Sometimes rookie quarterbacks are just going to look like rookie quarterbacks. It's going to be ugly sometimes. And we talked about that leading into the season. We said over and over again, hey, there's going to be moments where it doesn't look good. There's going to be moments where he misses a throw. There's going to be games that are not pretty. But then when it happens, we act like it's unheard of for a rookie quarterback to have some bad games, especially right here at the beginning. They've only played 5.
Better today, or I think he will be better in the future today than I did back in the spring when I was like, yeah, he'll be the number one pick. Like a lot of people thought number one pick. You know, and I've said this, Mike, and Titans fans are like, what are you, an idiot? You know, I'd ask you this. If we looked at the top players at that position, the Lamar, Joe, Patrick, Josh, Hurts, Stafford, Herbert, Baker, what's the, like, the majority of that group, what's the thing that stands out the most? Like, they just make throws. Baker makes throws. Patrick makes throws. Herbert makes throws. You know, there's Lamar does some stuff different than everyone else, Jalen as well. But at the end of the day, can you make throws that are unbelievably impressive? That's what the top guys do. Yeah. You watch that young man's tape. It's not perfect, no, but he makes throws. You're like, holy smokes, man. I mean, he sees it fast. He gets out of his hand quick. He's ridiculously accurate with the football. He's got very good ball placement when defenders are close.
Accuracy was not his strong suit against Arizona in the first 3 quarters. But again, Dan's judging it in totality.
He got to clean up his footwork, yes. He's 6 months removed or 8 months removed with playing college football. Of course he does. He's a puppy still. But just the ability to make throws in NFL games, I think he's been absolutely outstanding. And that's why do the right thing by him. Support him with the right people up front. Put good pieces around him. Build the offensive schematically around him. You're going to have a very, very good player.
Let's talk about another.
Yeah, I think that the comment about his footwork and his mechanics are important because that, you know, a lot of the times when we see the inaccurate passes, a lot of times when we see the throws that don't quite get to where they need to get, a lot of that is because of his footwork. And again, like he said, just a few months ago, rather, he was still playing college football. So, I mean, he's only played 5 NFL games. It takes time. That's not unusual. That's not unheard of. That's not discouraging. That's just life. That's just football. I wanted to show you this tweet by Dan Orlovsky as well that I think he put out the day after the Titans-Cardinals game. Cam Ward's tape is incredible. He's better than we thought. If the Titans do right with and around him, he will be a top 8 player at quarterback easily. Top 8. I mean, that's elite category that Dan is saying he thinks Cam Ward will get to if the Titans do right by him. And I'm in favor of that, by the way. I like that analysis from Dan. But I think there were a lot of people in Dan's comments who were saying, well, now wait a minute. I'm seeing all of these passes and I'm seeing all of these charts with all of these different things about his completion percentage. I mean, have you ever noticed on X, like every day there's a new chart that has little dots with everybody's names on it and everybody but the fact of the matter is Cam Ward, while he has had his rookie moments, because after all, he is a rookie, and if anybody's going to have rookie moments, it should be rookies, right? He's also had a lot of dropped passes in every game. In every game the Titans have played, there have been numerous dropped passes by numerous different people. In certain games, the offensive line was atrocious. They've gotten better, but early on in the first few games, they were atrocious. Hopefully they continue to improve. We know what the coaching situation is. We know what the schematic element is of the offense. He's a rookie who's having to overcome a lot of different things that are not exactly going in his favor early on. I said this on my podcast Monday. You can go back and listen to it. Cam's going to be a rookie, but he's got to have that opportunity to learn and grow and make mistakes and figure it out. He's got to have the opportunity to do that. And if the offensive line is not properly protecting him, and if the receivers aren't catching the ball, and if the offensive scheme is not fitting what he's good at, and if the play calls are weird, that's not even putting him in a position to learn, because he's having to overcome. I had a comment weeks ago of somebody who's a Bills fan who told me they felt like Josh Allen didn't even have to be great in his first 30 starts because he just had talent stepping up around him and he was well coached. So he played about 25, 30 games before he even had to be great. Cam Ward's been put in a position where he has to be great from the start because he's on such a bad team. So I agree with Dan. I think everything's headed in the right direction with Cam Ward. I think that, yes, there are still things he needs to work on. I mean, but don't act like that's not unheard of, guys. I see you guys every week. Well, he missed this throw and he missed that throw. Yeah, I mean, listen, he's not going to pitch a 158.3 rating in his first 5 starts. He's going to struggle. That's what rookies do. Jaden Daniels was the exception and not the rule. You got to give this guy a chance to struggle. He's not going to come out here and be Joe Burrow from the start. You got to give him time. And especially with this offense and this roster, you've just got to realize that just because he's struggling in some areas, that does not mean he was a bust, and that does not mean that we shouldn't have drafted him, and that does not mean that we should have stuck with somebody else. No, it just sometimes a rookie's just going to be a rookie. And nobody should be fired for that in terms of being a quarterback. I think there may be some coaches that need to be fired to help him later on. But you know what I mean. Appreciate it, Dan-O. You're the man-O, Dan-O. Tighten up.